Who are the worst types of kids in high school? Is it ghetto girls? Hoop earrings, fake nails, head movements like a rooster when they're upset? Usually called white names, just pronounced poorly? No, it's Stephanie. Talks trash about other girls' hair when hers looks like she got it from My Autistic Pony. Thinks they're hot when the only thing flaming is that allergic to latex cooter. Is it Discord mods? Kids with an overly inflated ego from having the tiniest bit of power. They think they're cool when they're really just an Uncle Tom for a successful YouTuber. Jay Schlatt doesn't ask twice. Okay. Is it the gym rat? First kid you've ever seen with back knee. Refuses to tilt while walking through the hallway. Grunts while working out to let you know who's the alpha. Is it the teacher's pet? You know the kid that raises their hand at the end of class to tell the teacher she forgot to sign homework? I mean, have you ever wanted to bully a kid more? How dare you make it so I have 15 minutes less to play Minecraft?
But homework will help us learn.
No, you're about to learn today, sweet cheeks. Is it my first facial hair? The kid that thinks he's a man because he can now grow a few whiskers above his lip. Thinks he looks like Zac Efron when he really looks like, get in the back of the van, John. Is it bullies? The kids who pick on others in order to deflect from their own insecurities. Remember, they're not beating you up for being gay. They're just trying to beat the gay out of themselves. Is it the person most likely to join a cult? You know the people that idolize a narcissist whose only goals are money, power, and to sleep with underage girls who can keep a secret? These kids just want a community to belong to, which comes at the low cost of their silent obedience. Is it pork chops? The greasy walrus-like creatures that have completely given up on their bodies. Tells people body shaming is wrong, asks to use the elevator during fire drills, gets upset when only one butt cheek fits in their chair. These kids are barely even people. They're basically just flesh vacuums for overprocessed food. Is it the artsy kids who create gorgeous pieces of art that will later be stolen by AI programs? These guys are like Heath Ledger. They have tons of talent, but they're too busy sleeping. Is it the army recruit? The kid that judges what women do with their bodies while simultaneously letting the government decide what's done with his. Talks about made-up threats to our country like wokeism and CRT while disregarding the military-industrial complex. Convinces himself he's not a scared teenager who doesn't know what to do with his life and is just looking for someone to make decisions for him. No, it's just I love America too damn much! Is it the butterface? The girl that would be a 10 if it wasn't for that Down syndrome Bella Ramsey face. You go from hard to flaccid every time she turns around. Your guy friends bust your chops for hitting on her. The only thing you care about is busting on her chops. Is it the overachiever? The kid in multiple honor classes, sports, and clubs. Also known as the kid with Asian parents. They're always studying for exams like their life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Is it the secretly racist kids? Listens to Tucker Carlson. Calls anyone that disagrees with him sheep. Favorite phrase is I'm not racist, but always mentions our culture is at stake when what they really mean is there's a few new black people in town. What is happening to America? Is it the shy 10? The quiet girl that doesn't realize she hit the genetic lottery during puberty. Her fun bags are at max and her trunk is so big when she sits down, she gets taller. She tends to keep to herself, which is perfect because that means less competition. Now's the time to make offhanded comments about her appearance that will result in years, if not decades, of unresolved insecurities. Hey, your dimples are really big. Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just odd. Lower her already low self-esteem so she feels like you're the best she can do. Is it the student who brags about sleeping with the teacher? Kids can't keep a secret, let alone one as juicy as Pork and Miss Sullivan. Now sure, she's a pedo who deserves to be tarred and feathered, but I'm not gonna tell my homie that. Why give him childhood trauma that will impact all of his future relationships when I can give him high fives instead? Is it that kid that died drinking and driving? You know the kid that used to bully you, and now everyone's pretending he's a saint? Halo around his portrait at the funeral? Really? 11 shots of Jaeger, driving 100 miles an hour with no seatbelt, and that's God's chosen child? Okay. Now, like Muslims on 9/11, you gotta pretend to be sad when you're really just fighting the urge to giggle. Is it special ed kids? You know the kids that can't take a piss without biting their own tongue? They're always disrupting class at inappropriate times. Everyone, I know today is gonna be tough, knowing Billy died in a drinking and driving accident, but it's important we get through this together. Is it the talentless influencer? The kids who have no discernible talent and just react to other people's creativity, also known as sniper wolf simps. Did I accidentally give out the home address of an individual I've convinced my fan base is trying to ruin my career? Whoopsie. Is it the class clown? The kid who brings joy and laughter to an otherwise boring geometry class, willing to take all the punishment from the teacher just to entertain the masses. The OG homie who for a brief moment in time makes you forget about ending yourself. You are lucky to even be in a room with them, you talentless monkey! Is it the gossip queen? Girls whose sole purpose is to talk shit about others. You see, gossip is like currency in high school. The more life-ending a secret is, the richer you are. Don't believe me? Imagine finding out Stacy gave a blowy to the basketball coach. Yeah, you don't think you'd have a little power over her life after that? What I'm really saying is, we all know mental warfare is worse than physical, right? So in a way, these gossip biddies are mental serial killers. Is it the kid that always uses the term cringe, has no discernible talent, and broadly uses the term cringe for anything he doesn't like? You know the kid that doesn't take any creative risks and just shits over other people's hard work?
I have a dream.
Ugh, cringe. Is it the overdosers? The kids with dark circles under their eyes who are slowly developing Parkinson's. Only talents are finding a vein and sharing with others. Is it the token black kid? You know, the one black kid in an all-white school? Has to deal with people saying he's not black enough or acts too white. Mom is a pharmacist for CVS and dad gets angry sometimes. Is it the Adderall junkies? The kids that were given a 50 milligram stimulant because their parents were too lazy to talk to them. Eyes look like they popped E, can't stop going to the bathroom, doesn't hide when there's a school shooter because they're too busy focusing on a sweat bead going down Miss Sullivan's chest. Is it tech support? The kid you go to whenever you get viruses in your computer from watching too much Teen Titans corn.
Yo, you really like Starfire, don't you?
Listen, how about you fix my computer before I have to explain to my sister what post-nut clarity is? Is it the rich kid who doesn't think he's rich, drives a brand new BMW to school, tries to relate to your problems, but is so out of touch with the struggle that he just comes off as pretentious?
Dude, I think I have to go back to the foster home.
Bro, give me a sec. I'm fighting Vin Diesel if he was the size of a baby. Woo! This AI stuff is getting wild. Is it the prankster? The kid that releases 3 pigs into school with the numbers 1, 2, and 4 on them just for the lols? Is it the kids who always talk in internet slang? No cap, bro be simping over my drip.
That boomer just be jelly that your Riz be fire, fam.
You know, you both use a lot of lingo from not getting laid. Is it the smart kid who never applies himself? Brags how he aces every exam despite never studying. Thinks life is going to be as easy as high school, but falls into a deep depression by age 23. Develops a substance abuse problem and eventually realizes ignorance is bliss. Is it the ghost? And no, I'm not talking about the secretly racist kid. I'm talking about the kid who's always disappearing from school, only showing up when there's a test, pizza party, or fight. Since Stacy is pregnant, does that make this a 2-on-1? Is it the screw-ups? The kids that are always screwing up their lives. All the opportunities in the world, and their brain is like, time to ruin this. Is it the wildlife enthusiast? Spends most time outdoors, thinks shaving is unnatural, feeds wild deer around campus, secretly hopes to get humped to death by a dolphin. I'm just glad you're happy. Is it the horned up athlete, who you're pretty sure joined the wrestling team so he has an excuse to get handsy? You want to call him out, but you're too afraid of being labeled a bigot, even though you're pretty sure ball tickling isn't a pin technique. Is it my first couple? You know, the 2 kids that are mainlining the most powerful drug of all? Love. Nothing will make a person dumber than being in love. Rationality is not blowing you, so it's out the window. At first, you'll think these kids are cute, but very quickly move to, get off my fucking locker! Oh, Becky, you could at least wipe first. Is it the kid who's cool with everyone, but close to no one? They're like trash cans. They're everywhere, but no one ever thinks about them. Is it the letdowns? The kids you think have your back, when really, they got their own problems to worry about. So those are all the worst types of kids in high school. If you like this madness, check out my other worst kids in high school video, where I go even harder. You're gonna have to take one if you want to make it. I love it when you cry. Special thanks to my homie Tokman for collabing on this one. And just remember, Jay Schlatt doesn't ask twice. Who are the worst types of kids in high school? Is it the plastics, also known as basic bitches, armed with a Frappuccino, iPhone, Gucci handbag, and Lululemon yoga pants that makes her ass look way too big? Their ultimate goal is to be a housewife, with a retirement plan of selling their used tissues on OnlyFans. Is it the wannabe influencer, always making TikToks, especially in places they aren't supposed to be filming in? Will always remind you of that one video that got 3 million views when they averaged 200 on every other, has given up school and all future job prospects in the hopes of getting railed in an influencer mansion. You're gonna have to take one if you want to make it. I love it when you cry. Is it boys? Born with the perfect jawline, get all their advice from Andrew Tate. Vocab consists of did you smash, bro, and no homo. If they made a tier list, it would be men, house cat, then women. Is it fake depressed people? The people that base their identity on one Billie Eilish song. Self-diagnosed with a mental illness, threatens to kill themselves for attention, can't go to therapy because no one understands them. Compares their life to actual underprivileged people. Spaghetti again, Mom? Jesus, I feel like this is Ukraine. Is it the girl that you're pretty sure is pregnant? You know, the girl that all of a sudden starts wearing a hoodie, even though it's 82 degrees outside? You're not sure if she has a baby bump or if she's been pounding some KFC recently. Is it weebs? Kids who feverishly masturbate to Japanese culture. They insist they've never heard of hentai when we all know they have a topless photo of Starfire in the room. You'll catch these guys Naruto running to class, pretending to use a sword, and humping their Nezuko body pillow during study hall. Is it the Snoop Dogs? Always high on something, speaks in metaphors, relaxed to the point of narcolepsy. You always catch them vaping in places they aren't supposed to. The bathroom, the hallway, girls' locker room. Them titties be fire. Now don't confuse these people with pill heads who started vaping in middle school and have gradually escalated to harder drugs. Weed is like a hand job to them. If it's the only thing offered, they'll take it, but they're really looking for something that'll blow their minds. Is it Miss Daddy issues? Always comes to school with a different hair color, typically has tattoos and piercings, only dates guys who are out of prison or on their way there, and most importantly, willing to do anal by the second date. Is it cops pretending to be students to bust international drug crimes? You know the guys that transfer to your school midway through the year, are clearly in their mid-30s, and always ask, "Where's the party at?" You can tell it's them because they always use outdated slang like, "This party is dope," and "You guys don't use horse tranquilizers?" Surprise Pikachu face. Is it that one Asian girl? You know the chick that would normally be a 6, but she comes off as a 9 because she seems exotic? Now sure, if you put your hand over her face, she has the body of a 12-year-old boy, but you're Catholic, so you're probably into that. Is it the foreign exchange student? Speaking of exotic, now we have someone who doesn't even speak the language. ¿De dónde está el condom? I'm sorry, I don't speak your ooga booga language. Now do you want this green card or not? Is it Elon Musk fanboys? Always saying, "No, this billionaire's different. He really cares about me and the environment." Now sure, he barely pays any taxes, accepts government subsidies, and supports political candidates who don't believe in climate change or queers, but that doesn't matter because he's an advocate for free speech. That's why he bans journalists that make critical remarks about him. That's freedom to say, "I don't want to hear you speak." Is it the kid that wishes he was black? Wears swag hat, drops the hard R, comes to school with a gun that he barely knows how to use? Billy, no!
Well, shit. At least I got me some prison cred.
Is it the die-hard sports fan? The guy who insults you for liking Star Wars, yet has an entire room dedicated to sweaty men? Sports fanatics basically fantasize about something they're not. A rich, athletic, probably black guy who occasionally smashes an Armenian pig. Is it the two gay kids you keep trying to hook up because they're gay, but they keep telling you just because we're gay doesn't mean we're going to be into each other, but then they eventually hook up at the end of the year? Those queers make me so happy. Is it the wannabe streamer who tends to be male, but occasionally can be a depressed female looking for anything to give her an identity? They like to brag how they're an affiliate earning money, yet every time you turn them on, they just have 3 viewers. Like, bitch, the only one sending you donos is your mom who just wants you out of the house. Is it the school shooter who says ominous things when he's bullied, like, "One day you'll be sorry"? Doodles pics of him burying classmates. Has a mother who claims her child is an angel, and a father who beats him for, quote, "looking too queer." Make sure to give this kid some snacks. That way, when he goes postal, he'll have a sweet memory of you. Is it the guy that takes sports way too seriously?
Your ass is mine, Billy.
Chill, Tommy. It's just badminton.
That's what losers say.
Is it the average white boy who wants to himself? You know, the kid that doesn't excel in anything and is just in the middle of the pack? Dreams of smashing dimes at his school, but biggest fear is talking to them. Something tells me there's a few of them watching this video right now. And my advice to them would be killing yourself is never the answer. Unless you're under 5'6", then might as well click that restart button. Is it the letter kids? You know, the LGBTQ7 Batman symbol? The ones that always preach tolerance as they bully anyone that disagrees with them. Say Caitlyn Jenner's a hero or I'm flagging all your TikTok content. Is it thoughts? Girls who always sleep around, wear hoop earrings, crop tops, ripped jeans. Vocab primarily consists of saying low-key and dead ass. These chicks are basically spicy hot Cheetos. You'll get the urge to put one in your mouth, but shortly after, you'll be covered in a fiery itch. Is it the ugly girl who claims men objectify her, always complaining that men eye rape her when any guy would rather get an extra circumcision than stick it in her bear trap? I'm talking about you, Becky, you fat slut! So there you have it, all the worst kids in high school. Special thanks to Birdie for collabing on this one, and just remember, Ludwig loves it when you beg. Oh yeah. Money solves all problems. Food, clothes, a girlfriend with all holes in the table. There's nothing you can't buy. But how do you earn bread when you're young? Well, here are 6 ways to get rich in high school. Number 1, tell others how to earn money. If you don't have money, then just pretend you do and convince others to pay for your secrets. Remember, no one is checking credentials online. If you want to be an expert in crypto, then go ahead. You see, YouTube has a metric called CPM, which is the amount of money advertisers pay for every 1,000 views. And you know the category with the highest CPM? That's right, how to earn money, which pays an average of $13.52 for every 1,000 views. To put that into perspective, my How to Tell If Your Girlfriend is Crazy has a CPM of $5.52, and I'd argue it's way more useful. The best part is that's just ad revenue. That doesn't include any books, courses, or big pills you're selling to your desperate fan base. And the icing on the cake is the longer your fans are poor, the more likely they are to click on your video. So you're basically incentivized not to help them. So here you go, Billy. The next rising crypto is here. Number 2, streamer. But with everyone and their curious uncle streaming games, games, how do you stand out? Well, if you're a girl, it's easy. Just push those fun bags together and wear the deepest V you can legally get away with. Then just hit up successful male creators for a collab. You see, guys are idiots and assume any woman showing them attention is flirting with them. So even if you wrote, hey, I just wanted to hop in your algo and milk money out of your simp fanbase, he'll read, I want the tea! Then it's as simple as using their blue balls to climb your way to the top. Now, if you're a guy who wants a streaming career, then it's time to think of a gimmick. You just need something to stand out from a crowd. Like Ninja has daddy issue hair, Dr. Disrespect is a Chad, and XQC is a parasite, feeding off the attention of children. So try your best to think of a gimmick that makes people say, it won't let go! Number 3, drone pilot. You see the world differently as a drone pilot. Like when a residential building collapses, you don't see dead bodies. Well, you do, because you're the one filming it, but you also see dollar signs, because that's some juicy clickbait content. And if the news can exploit tragedy for profit, you can too. Even if no one's paying you, just offer up the footage for free saying, I just wanted to help out any way I could, while conveniently handing out your business card. If you're unlucky and live in a terror-free zone, then you can always do real estate footage. And it's real simple to get started. All you need to do is air tag some classmates you hate in order to figure out their home address. Then mail out a ChatGPT-inspired affair confession to their mom. Within weeks, you'll see their house listed on the market, and that's when you send out an email with some bogus stats of houses that feature drone footage sell 4 times quicker than those who don't. Then sit back as a woman barely holding it together pays you to film the life your enemies once had. Number 4, exploit your animals. Your pet's free ride is over, and it's time they start earning their keep. Is putting pants on a dog torture? Of course, but it's also adorable. And if America taught me anything, it's suffering is profitable. Twerk better, you fucking idiots. Do you want to get fed or hit in the head? The choice is yours, creature who barely understands me. Number 5, trans lawsuit. Having people discriminate you for being trans can be tough. But you know what will make you feel better? Money. Based on my popular book, How to Turn Hate Green. You see, hate speech used to make you sad, now it turns you on. Because anytime you hear, you're not a real woman, what you really hear is, let me pay for your BMW. So it's time to start gathering evidence and secretly recording all the ignorant comments by your teachers and classmates. Sure, the resulting lawsuit might result in cutbacks affecting the education of future generations, but if capitalism taught me anything, it's money! Number 6, the fans. If you're a teacher who's fed up with being underpaid, it's time to set up your fans. Now, normally, the hardest part is building a clientele, but you're coming in with a built-in fan base. I mean, who gives a shit about Fortnite when Miss Sullivan's putting loot in her box? About to get sweaty. The only issue is you'll be fired if it leaks, which is why you need to plan ahead. That last month, make sure to be wearing some tight outfits. Whoops, did I drop a marker? Whoops, did I turn down the thermostat? Whoops, did I spill water on myself? Here, let me dry it off. Oh, yeah. And why stop at kids? You don't think the entire science department is going to want to see your clam? That's why you got to plan your final day to be at a school assembly. Make sure to get the maximum number of eyeballs before having a wardrobe malfunction. Whoops. Now, of course, you'll get fired, but that's not going to stop you from handing out business cards at the bus stop. Might as well plant a few more seeds that are about to get spilled. This brings you to the most crucial part of your plan, setting up your first live stream. Because every content creator knows how important the title thumbnail is, so don't make the mistake of calling it first video with a pic of you with a peace sign. No, being talentless is why you're here in the first place. What you need to do is make your thumbnail a blurry image of a generic white kid. Then title it something like Top 10 Students I Pork, or Porkin' Students Be Like, or send me a nice dono and your home address and I'll think about it, winky face. So there you have it, all the ways to get rich in high school. If I miss any, please let me know down in the comments. And just remember, it's not hard to shatter an already broken household. Cheating has made my life way better. When I was in elementary school, what I used to do is put my hand on my forehead and just cheat off everyone's paper. It was a simple and flawless strategy. The trick is you basically just tilt your head to the side and basically rub your forehead like you're thinking, when you're really just scoping for answers. Every once in a while, the teacher would say, everyone keep your eyes on your own paper. But even as a child, I'm like, bish, prove I was cheating. Now, normally, I would just do this for a few answers I wasn't sure about. But in 4th grade, we had an exam to get into the Gifted and Talented program. I had no idea what it was, but it sounded nice, so I'm like, oh, I gots to be cheating for this one. So I bribed one of my smart homies with a bag of Jolly Ranchers. I'm like, all you gotta do is keep your Scantron visible. And he's like, Alright, this worked perfectly, and in middle school I was accepted in the program, which was by far the greatest class I've ever taken. The structure wasn't sit there and have some middle-aged woman lecture you. No, it was here's a problem, get together in groups, and figure out how to solve it, leading it to feel more like play and less like school. One of the assignments was develop an invention that would help mankind. And after a week of scribbling down terrible ideas, I was like, wait, I'll just do what got me here, and cheat. So I stole an idea from The Simpsons where Homer develops a chair that prevents you from falling backwards. I didn't even change the idea. I literally just drew out the same shit and had my mom make me a prototype. My teacher ended up liking the idea so much, she chose me to represent our school at an invention fair, which meant 1, I could potentially win prizes, and 2, more importantly, I get the day off of school. So I go to the fair, and it's in this beautiful, all-white high school. How did I know the demographic was white? Because it had a goddamn planetarium in it. Yeah, try finding that in the inner city. That's right, there was an entire room dedicated to looking at all the grandness of the universe right next to my first DJ. And while waiting for the judges to come around, I went to one of the shows, which was incredible. Not because it gave me perspective that we're all just stardust-filled meatbags given enough rationality to realize our own mortality, but because it was hilarious. You see, the presenter used a laser pointer to show different constellations and star systems, but some kid also brought a laser pointer and during the show just started circling random things, which caused the presenter to get furious. She's like, whoever's doing that, stop it right now. And I'm just dying laughing, which causes other people to start laughing, which causes the presenter to turn on the lights and cancel the show. I'm like, this day is already incredible, and knowing my classmates are stuck in school right now is only making it better. So I go back to my booth, and eventually 2 judges come over. They ask me questions about my invention, and I bullshit my brains out. I'm like, oh, well, many kids get bored and lean back in their chairs, so I just thought of a way to ensure their safety, blah, 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 blah. A few hours later, everyone gathers in the auditorium for awards. There were 5 prizes to give out, and I ended up winning 3 of them. 2 were $50 gift certificates, and 1 was a $300 stereo system. I was so freaking happy. And not even so much from the prizes, but the fact I was standing in front of a crowd of people that were cheering me. Because remember, I'm 11 years old. Nothing special had ever happened to me by that point. And now, I'm winning 3 out of 5 prizes in an auditorium full of jealous kids. It was tasty. The only person happier than me was my mom. She damn near lost her shit when I told her on the phone. And being an entertainer, I made sure to build the excitement. I'm like, hey mom, so they just handed out prizes, and I won a $50 gift certificate. And she's like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm sorry, did I say a $50 gift certificate? I meant to say 2 $50 gift certificates. And she's like, whoa, you won 2 prizes? And I'm like, wait, did I say 2 $50 gift certificates? I meant to say 2 $50 gift certificates and a $300 stereo system. And she's like, what? And the praise didn't stop there. The following day at school, my teacher is parading me around like little Steven crushed it at the invention fair. Behold his enormous brain, you dumb peasants! And I'm just waving like Miss America, like, thank you. Thank you. I was born with a gift. Thank you. Every once in a while, a student would come up to me and be like, hey, you stole that idea from The Simpsons. In which I'd reply, I'm sorry, where's your $300 stereo system? Oh, that's right. I'm going to call you Smuckers because you're being ultra jelly right now. So overall, what this experience taught me is cheaters always prosper. It got me into a class where I could flex my creative muscles. It got me a day off of school. It got me a free comedy show. It won me prizes. It made my parent proud. And it got me what I wanted most of all, attention. So the lesson you should take from this video is cheat in school. And it doesn't have to be the hand on the forehead strategy. It could be writing your answers on a small piece of paper, or checking your cell phone in the bathroom, or blackmailing your teacher when you find their OnlyFans. It doesn't matter so long as you're not studying, because life doesn't reward hard work. It rewards exploiting other people's hard work. Dealing drugs, punching a teacher, pouring olive oil on stairs, and pulling the fire alarm. There are plenty of ways to get suspended in high school. So here's a story on how I got suspended. And yes, it involves dildos. It all started this summer before my senior year. I was working a job at my school where me and a bunch of underpaid students would help move around furniture, basically taking everything from one classroom and moving it to another. Our supervisor was a guy named Pedro and was the only lazy Mexican I've ever met. The dude would bark out orders every day like a slave master. Listen up, I need you guys to take all these desks and move them to the second floor. But Pedro, my back really hurts. Don't talk back to me, boy. The only nice part about the job was I got to see my entire school. Almost every door was unlocked and I got to see where everything was kept. Well, every door except for the principal's office. That wasn't until one day when Pedro says, all right, kids, we got to move everything from the principal's office to another room. So as he opens the door, I make a mental note of which key he used. You see, this is where I began to hatch my scheme. After that, I really started to watch Pedro. Like DiCaprio at a high school graduation, studying his habits and routine. I noticed that every day at 11 a.m., Pedro would take a lunch break in which he would leave his keys inside the janitor's closet. So one day when he drops off his keys, I quickly grab them, take the one I need, hustle to Home Depot, make a copy, hustle back, replace the key, all without him noticing. As soon as I got home, of course I had to show all my homies. All of them are looking at the key like the first booby they've ever seen. Whoa! Oh my God! It's so hard. So what's the plan? Well, I was thinking we could take everything from Principal Murphy's office and move it to the middle of the track field. Friends are like, genius. Now, what I didn't tell my friends is I was also planning on leaving a huge sex toy on his desk. So that afternoon, I went to Spencer's and bought the biggest dildo I could afford. The cashier, who's trying not to smile, bags it up and says, you want the receipt inside? I'm like, sure, whatever, knowing there's no way I'm going to return it. Fast forward to senior year, and it's a crisp Wednesday morning when the bell rings between second and third period. I'm about 10 feet away from the stairwell when thousands of bouncy balls start to pour out from the ceiling. It turns out a few of my classmates got on the roof, opened up the skylight, and dumped a Hiroshima bomb of bouncy balls. It was pure chaos. People laughing, slipping, huddling for cover. It was beautiful. And this made my principal furious. He went to the PA system basically telling people how irresponsible and potentially deadly this was. That's when I knew it was time for my prank. Because one prank is funny, but two is anarchy. And I really wanted to turn the school into a prison riot. So I gathered up my friends and was like, tonight is when we strike. So at 1:15 a.m., I drive my buddies down to the school. We sneak inside, open the door to the principal's office, and immediately realize there was a huge problem. The desk was way too heavy to move. You see, I'm fucking stupid and didn't realize when I moved it initially, there was nothing inside of it. We couldn't even take out the drawers because they're permanently attached. That's when I said, you know what, fuck it, let's just dump everything on the ground. So we're just throwing files everywhere, which in retrospect was such a terrible idea. Because once the desk was light enough to move, we're all just slipping on the papers. But eventually we get it out of the office and bring it down to the track field. We didn't even bother to make it look halfway decent. Like our original plan was to have everything look exactly like it was before, but we're all just like, screw it. And we just left it a mess and ran back to the car. As soon as we get inside, my buddies are like, let's go, let's go. I'm like, wait, there's one last thing. So I pop my trunk, take out the dildo, run down to the field, place it right in the center of his desk and hustle back to the car. We speed off and my friends are like, what was in that box? I'm like, oh, well, since Mr. Murphy is such a pussy, I decided to buy him a brand new dildo. Fast forward a few hours later and I came to school early. I still remember walking in with a smile on my face as I can see his desk way off in the distance. Once school started, Mr. Murphy comes on the PA and is again furious, saying, last night someone broke into my office and the police are coming to question students. Not gonna lie, when he mentioned the police, I began to panic a little, but overall, I still felt pretty good. That was until 6th period when the overhead announcements came on telling me to come down to the principal's office. Everyone in my class was just like, ooh. So I go to the office and Principal Murphy sits me down and tells me to confess. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, don't give me that bullshit. I know you did this. I'm like, I'm sorry, did what? He says, you know, you're just like your deadbeat sister. And that's when something inside me snapped. I'm like, this motherfucker is trying to bring my family into this? Nuh-uh. So I say to him, wait, what happened to your desk? It looks a little disheveled. He says, I'm not the person you want to fuck with. And I said, hey, I don't see a wedding band on your finger. It doesn't look like anyone's fucking with you. He says, if you don't confess, I'll have you expelled. And I'm like, what evidence do you have? Hearsay from classmates? He says, no, you left the receipt in the dildo box, stupid. And right on the receipt, it says my full fucking name. And I'm like, no, how did this happen? Then I remembered, oh my God, when the cashier said, do you want the receipt inside? I thought he meant inside the bag, not inside the box. But even with overwhelming evidence, I still said, oh, hey, there's my dildo. I've been looking for that everywhere. Needless to say, he doesn't buy it and suspends me for a week, which my mom eventually complained down to 2 days. When I came back to school, everyone treated me like I was the man. And I'm just walking around smirking going, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, but by the way, did you guys hear Principal Murphy likes big black dildos? So what did I learn from this? Well, 2 things. 1, rebelling against authority is a great way to become popular. And 2, when buying a dildo, never ask for a receipt. Fighting is almost never worth it, because there's no ref in the real world. You could try tapping out, but you'll probably just get beat harder. Stop touching me! If you want to go into a UFC or a boxing ring where someone can break it up, be my guest. But out in public, some people are savages. In college, I remember seeing a fight that broke out on the sidewalk. One guy throws the other guy down to the ground and starts playing soccer with his brain noodle. Do you think anyone broke it up? Hell no. Everyone just took out their cell phones being like, someone should really stop this. Besides, with all the MMA training out there, you don't know how dangerous someone could be. That midget with a lisp could be a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Now you're on the pavement getting pummeled because you made one short joke. Ah! I was kidding! I was kidding! You'll never be good enough. Shut up, Dad! I've been in 3 fights in my life. One I lost, one I won, and one where we both lost. Let's start with the one I lost. I know it may be hard to believe, but in high school, I wasn't the physical specimen my Instagram makes me out to be. Nope, I was a 135-pound white boy. One kid at my school named Tommy would always bully me. I never did anything to the guy, but some people see a sheep and decide, I want lamb tonight. One day, I'm the last to leave class, and he stands in front of the door blocking my exit. I was getting real fed up with the shit, so I didn't even ask him to move. I just tried forcing myself past him. We grapple for a second, and then he tosses me down to the ground and throws his science book at my head. Here's a physics lesson, bitch. Now, I didn't cry, but I was getting teary. My entire soul wanted to cry, but there were tons of classmates in the hall that would never let me live that down. As I'm picking up my books, a teacher named Mr. Schneider comes over and asks what happened. I know snitches get stitches, so I kept my mouth shut. Luckily, one of my classmates says, Tommy pushed him down and threw a textbook at his head. Mr. Schneider doesn't even ask if it's true. He just grabs the kid's arm and manhandles him to the principal's office. You think that would make me me feel better, but when you're a kid and get bullied, you just can't escape the feeling of being ashamed or embarrassed. Fast forward to my next 2 fights that were both at college. By this point, I was working out a bunch, and I wasn't huge, but for my size, I was in great shape. One day, I'm in the wrestling room with my buddy Mike, and he asked if I knew how to defend myself. Being all sorts of cocky, I'm like, of course. In my mind, I'm like, I got a six-pack. I'm basically a professional fighter. So Mike says, all right, so you'd be able to take a leg kick. I'm like, leg kick? What a stupid thing to do in a fight. He goes, all right, I'm gonna kick you about 30% of my strength. I'm like, okay. He's like, are you sure you're ready? I'm like, stop being a bitch and just do it. He kicks me, and immediately, my leg turns to jello. I'm like, mother of tits, that hurt. And he wasn't kidding. He only kicked me with about 30% of his strength. After that, you'll never guess what I kept practicing. Hand jobs. What? No, calf kicks on a boxing bag. A few months later, I'm at the bar, and I got a couple of drinks in me. I'm feeling extra confident, so I'm going up to random cuties trying to start a conversation. I'm talking to this one lovely lady when a guy comes over saying, why the f*** you talking to my girl? I'm like, whoa there, Chad. I'm just being friendly. Immediately, he grabs my shirt, and now it's a scene. His girlfriend is yelling, stop, Brian, stop. I was able to get away from him and exit the bar, but Brian follows me outside. He squares up and throws 2 jabs that weren't even close. I couldn't tell if he was too drunk or if he was just trying to intimidate me. Either way, I wasn't going to stand there and find out. So I took my buddy Mike's advice and blasted him in the calf. It connected beautifully. He immediately falls to one knee, and I just turn and book it. So I got a W in that fight, but the next one, not so much. Similar scenario, except I'm outside of a bar bullshitting with my friends. And for anyone that knows me, at times I can say some pretty offensive things. A gentleman about 5 feet from me takes offense to one of my comments and starts talking trash. Now, sober me would try to verbally de-escalate the situation, but sadly, only drunk me was awake. So we're going back and forth with insults, and he squares up. But this time, I'm overconfident. He throws 2 punches. One of them misses, and the other one clips me right in my ear. I'm like, shit. So I plant my feet, twist my hips, and go to kick his calf, but unfortunately, I miss slightly, and both of our shins collide. And my God, even with the alcohol in me, it was so painful. He falls to the ground, and somehow my adrenaline keeps me up, but I can tell my leg is compromised. So I immediately turn and hobble away. I was able to make it back to the bus that leads back to campus, but by this point, my adrenaline had subsided, and I couldn't put any pressure on my leg. So I asked the bus driver if he could drop me off at the hospital, and he didn't give a fuck. In fairness to him, he's a bus driver in a college town at 12:30 at night. Life did him dirty, and he could care less about anyone. He was just like, no. Not, I'll drop you off to the hospital, or this is the closest stop to the hospital. Just no. So I get off the bus, and I'm literally dragging myself to the hospital. After a few blocks, I got super lucky and bumped into a classmate. I barely even knew him, but he was nice enough to essentially carry me the rest of the way. So I'm in the ER, waiting to get an x-ray, when the kid whose leg I kicked is also in the hospital. He's there with his girlfriend, and I'm freaking out, trying to pull my little curtain closed so he doesn't see me, because I already had a fucked up leg. I didn't want to throw an assault charge on top of that. Good news is he doesn't see me. Bad news is I sprained my tibia, meaning I had to use crutches for the next few weeks, which sucked donkey dick because it was wintertime and my campus is a series of hills. I was in my physical prime, and the only ass I was eating was fault. In conclusion, is fighting worth it? Hell no. There's no prize money if you win, and if you lose, you can get seriously messed up. So if someone is bothering you, it's best to just be the bigger man and walk away. Or use social media to track where they live and show up at their house 15 years later. I got your science book, Tommy. What? Who are you? We're going to learn about inertia. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
You know what you want to do? Oh, you want to push that subscribe button. Oh, push the button. Push the button.